She told me her college soulmate was back, then said she'd be staying at his hotel tonight. The message blinked on my phone like a blade cutting through the quiet. I'm staying at his hotel tonight, just to see if the spark's still there. I stared at it. My coffee grew cold. My hand trembled, though I told myself it was nothing, just a text. But her words had a weight, an accusation, a taunt. She didn't write, "I might see him." She wrote, "I'm staying." The room felt smaller suddenly. Shadows from the blinds carved jagged patterns across the floor. My mind went to that hotel, to the idea of her laughter echoing in a corridor I didn't belong in. I called her. She didn't pick up. I thought about knocking on her door, demanding the truth. But something cold and precise stopped me. I didn't want an argument. I wanted answers. And I wanted power. So I did nothing. I sat in silence, listening to the hum of the fridge, the tick of the clock, feeling the surge of fury and despair like a storm behind my ribs. I thought of him, her college soulmate, the one she idolized in her diaries, the one she whispered about at parties. I had seen her eyes light up in a way they never did for me. And now he was real, and she had invited him into our life. The day blurred. I didn't eat. I didn't sleep properly. Her message kept replaying in my mind, like a sinister soundtrack, just to see if the spark's still there. I tried to rationalize. Maybe it was innocent. Maybe it was nostalgia. But the phrasing, the deliberate tone, she had decided this, on purpose. She wanted to see if the spark she once shared with him could eclipse the life she had with me. I thought about our marriage, 10 years, all the small sacrifices I had made, the nights I stayed awake to console her fears, the weekends I abandoned friends just to be with her. And she treated this history like disposable paper, ready to burn for a fleeting thrill. I remembered the secrets. Small betrayals I had ignored, suspicious late-night calls, a lipstick I never recognized. Each memory resurfaced with sharper edges. My stomach knotted. I realized something crucial. Anger alone wouldn't save me. Confrontation wouldn't serve justice. I needed evidence. So I began observing, quietly, meticulously. Her texts, her calls, the timing of her errands, they all became pieces of a puzzle. I didn't touch her phone, too obvious. I didn't follow her directly, too risky. But I recorded, I noted patterns, I learned. I found out which hotel she was staying at. I found out his schedule. Small details that might seem irrelevant, but in my hands, they became weapons. And through it all, I maintained calm. Outwardly, I was composed, even cheerful. My internal storm was building, silent, deadly, precise. Every laugh I heard her utter through a scream, every image she sent, I dissected. Every word she typed, I read between the lines. I wasn't just waiting. I was preparing. I learned more than I wanted. Her hotel check-in was confirmed. I monitored discreetly, didn't want anyone to suspect. I tracked her movements through publicly accessible feeds, social media posts, and the occasional careless comment from the concierge she trusted. I discovered small things, a bag she hadn't packed for me, a receipt for a dinner not meant for two, a photograph he tagged online from the lobby. My heart pounded each time I confirmed her location, each time I verified he was with her. I thought about confrontation, but I didn't call. I didn't message. I didn't storm in. That wasn't my style. I needed more. I dug deeper. Old photos of them resurfaced. A shared college account I'd never noticed before. Mutual friends who'd posted cryptic things on social media. Patterns emerged, emotional signals, lingering glances, shared nostalgia. Then the phone call. She laughed, soft, melodic, oblivious to the fact I knew the exact room she was in. I stayed quiet, listened, memorized. Her voice, once comforting, now felt alien, like she belonged to a world I was never permitted to enter. I imagined her in the hotel suite, the scent of the air changed by him, her smiles reserved. And I planned. Every step. I knew that the moment I acted, she would feel every ounce of the cold calculation I had poured into these days. She would see the full weight of the betrayal she had tried to inflict on me, and she would understand that I had anticipated it all. I didn't want drama. I wanted victory. The puzzle was almost complete. Every receipt, every photo, every careless post became ammunition. I had amassed a dossier of her duplicity. Not just her, but the man she pined for. A double betrayal. And now I was ready. The evidence hit me like ice water. Video feed from a hotel lobby, time-stamped and undeniable. She laughed, leaned in close, whispered things she had never whispered to me in a decade. I could see him, his hand brushing hers, the way he mirrored her movements. She had crossed the line. Not emotionally, not morally, she had acted. I stared at the screen, silence surrounding me. No words, just the cold realization that the person I loved was no longer the one I married. And yet, I stayed composed. Heart racing, pulse hammering, but my voice calm when I spoke to my neighbor, yes, the one who had warned me months ago. "I told you," he said. His smirk was quiet, knowing. I didn't answer. I had bigger plans. I copied every frame, every detail, every micro-expression. I annotated each piece, labeled each lie she had told, every deception, every hidden motive. The dossier was complete. My quiet revenge, prepared meticulously, was now inevitable. She returned that evening, unsuspecting, playful even. Her eyes met mine, and I smiled. Cold, controlled, detached. She didn't know that I had seen everything, that I held her betrayal in my hands like a scalpel. The storm had arrived, and she was about to be dissected. I invited her to sit. The air between us thickened. My dossier lay on the table, every page a mirror to her actions. I spoke softly, deliberately. "Do you recognize this?" Her face paled as I spread photos, receipts, videos, timestamps. She stammered, tried to claim innocence. I let her flounder. Every word she spoke contradicted a documented fact. Every denial was shattered. I didn't yell, I didn't cry. I simply watched, detached, as she realized her carefully curated world was collapsing. I told myself it was just nostalgia, she whispered. I didn't, but I interrupted, calm, precise. No, you acted. You chose him over us, over me, over everything we built. Her knees trembled, tears formed. She expected an argument, a plea, maybe even forgiveness. She got none. I revealed my own plan. I had contacted her family, friends, and even a lawyer. I had secured evidence to protect my interests, to ensure her betrayal would have consequences she hadn't imagined. I stood, silent, letting her absorb the gravity of her choices. She realized she had underestimated me, believed that I would break, that I would beg. I walked out. No final words, no begging, just control. I sat alone that night. The house felt emptier, yet lighter. No grief, no tears, just clarity. She had chosen her path. I had chosen mine. The dossier, the evidence, the revenge. It wasn't about humiliation. It was about reclaiming power, reclaiming my life. She would remember the calmness in my eyes, the precise measure of my actions, long after the moment passed. I reflected on every betrayal I had endured, every doubt, every silent suspicion. The world she had built for herself, with its lies and half-truths, now crumbled under the weight of calculated exposure. I didn't pity her. I didn't love her anymore. Not truly. I loved the person I was becoming. Strong, deliberate, untouchable. The phone buzzed. A message from her. I didn't read it. I didn't need to. My victory was not in response. It was in foresight, in preparation, in control. I smiled faintly. I had anticipated every move. I had stayed calm, measured, and precise. I had outmaneuvered betrayal with intellect, not anger. And in the end, that was all that mattered. The past was gone. The future was mine. And I walked forward, unbroken, untouchable, and finally free.
How could you do this?